Moving on to Group E, fellas. We got Germany. We have, I'm going to botch this, Curaçao, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. Someone please correct me.
We
How
got
do
a
we pronounce
correction.
that?
Nick, can we get a correction on that?
Yeah, can we get the producer on this?
Can we get the pronunciation? I have a pronunciation expert on the side.
Yeah, it's
Curaçao.
Curaçao,
Yeah.
Curaçao.
My guy's off tonight, super.
Yeah. Hey, but Curaçao, I saw this before the show. They didn't arrive in a private jet. They didn't arrive in a beautiful bus. These guys arrived in a windowless bus, cranking music through whatever street they entered it. I can't remember what city they're based in, but these guys, 158,000 people behind them, the smallest nation to ever qualify for the World Cup. I mean, they got to bring some Cinderella spirit to this World Cup.
Yeah. These are just stories you love to see, and that's why you could see the positivity in opening up the World Cup to like more teams and nations, because you would just never see them in a World Cup ever if it wasn't for that, and it gives that kind of, I don't know, I think a bigger tournament, and this is going to sound so American of me, it gives a very more American feel where you can have like the 16 seeds playing against the 1 seed. So I think it's a super different, you'll never see a 16 seed win in a soccer match in a World Cup, but it's super cool. And
all right. Hey,
Yeah,
all right. I'm going to say
Yeah.
something nice about Curaçao, okay? I got a couple things. Honestly, they first, to lead off, just get this out of the way, they have one of the largest ostrich farms outside of Africa in the entire world. Okay.
Wow.
That's number one. Number two is they have very steadily climbed the FIFA rankings over the last few years. And they've done that in a pretty creative, like what they've essentially done is in the Netherlands, there is kind of a Curaçao diaspora. Okay. And they have gone there and they have scouted the Dutch league and they have said, okay, who here could qualify for citizenship back in our country? And they've figured it out and they've scouted the talent and now they've recruited a team to go play at the World Cup. And that's pretty cool. And so, look, it might get pummeled. They will probably lose every single game they play. But I think they could make waves. And I don't want to just say Curaçao is going to make waves just for that sake. But the fact of the matter is they have people on their team that are playing in competitive leagues in Europe. And that's not nothing. Now, the problem is they're playing against Germany, Ecuador, and an okay Ivory Coast team. But I think when you look at, what they've done to get here, it's pretty cool.
And I'll say this. If you were to say Haiti versus Curaçao, who's going to perform better? Give me Curaçao.
Give me Curaçao.
Give me Curaçao.
100%,
I mean,
100%.
I'm not going to say that they're going to beat Germany. I'm not going to say that they'll beat Ecuador, but I'll say pretty confidently on this podcast that they're going to beat Ivory Coast in dramatic fashion. A 2-1 game, 91st minute winner.
Dude, I don't hate the take, but let's not forget, Ivory Coast is not a pushover. I mean, Ivory Coast beat France in a friendly last week.
I know. And
So,
I know, but Curaçao's better. They're just better.
They are. Okay.
Respect. And super, I think like there was one thing that really stood out to me in what you just said. And, you say like the FIFA rankings coming up, like the scouting in the Netherlands and trying to get the citizenship. But what really changes it for me is that ostrich farm.
Yeah.
Give me Curaçao to win the group. That was great. I love that you led with that.
What's your actual ranking for Group E? Who's coming in first? Who's coming in second? And is Curaçao going to sneak in to the group of 32 as a third place spot?
Yeah, I think that, again, Germany will take this group. It's pretty obvious. I think Germany can be a really strong side and super scary. A little bit like Brazil, where they're not as hyped up as I would say normally. But I think Germany has a chance to do some damage at this World Cup. I then have Ivory Coast coming in second. I don't know if that's crazy. I think Ecuador is super good. They have a great attack, but I would take Ivory Coast over Ecuador. in my
Wow.
opinion.
Look,
I
Wow.
am also going.
BBB,
I am.
look, I know you and I are hot on Ecuador, so do you want me to take him or should I take?
Listen, you.
Like,
I'm
I got
saving.
your back
Listen,
either way. But Ecuador,
I'm yeah. Don't get me started. I mean, don't get me started on Ecuador. Foss, lead off on Ecuador. I'm saving some of the Ecuador spunk for later in the show. You please lead off with Ecuador.
Dude, I'll tell you what, then Ecuador is one of the, if not the best defensive team in the entire World Cup. Right in their last 11 games of qualifying, they conceded one singular goal, and they beat Argentina, Colombia. They tied Brazil. They are a very good defensive team, and I think it wouldn't shock me if they won the entire group because they are that good defensively. Think about that: 11 qualifying games, not friendlies, qualifying games, and they only conceded one goal. It's pretty nuts. And the one goal they conceded was in a
Yep.
win.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Super. Do you know Germany's in the group?
Yes. Yes, guys, I do know Germany's in the group. However, I don't know how familiar you are with the Germans, but they have bounced in the group stage in the last 2 World Cups. I don't think there is a team in this World Cup with more nerves and more pressure than the Germans because, like, the Germans are soccer royalty. And to not get out of the group in the last 2 World Cups is shame. Shame, shame, shame. And so, look, I think the Germans are going to get out. Would not be surprised if they win it. I just think, like Curaçao, Ecuador deserves some flowers.
And I respect that.
I couldn't
And I
agree
respect
more.
that.
Foss, who's a player that you think could have a surprising impact in this group?
I don't know if it's surprising. I think a guy that we got to look at. I think Musiala is going to be make or break for Germany, and he just came back from a broken leg, right? So, like, how it fit is he? How back with his touch is he? I hate to say it. I think Kai Havertz is the guy that is going to decide it for Germany because if you look at the German team, they aren't the best German team that we've seen in recent years. They probably are one of the worst teams that we've seen in recent years. I think, like, you have Verts and he's a phenomenal player, but like Verts on his own isn't going to be able to do a lot. So if Kai Havertz can be that guy for Verts who he can play off of and create chances for, then I think Germany could do some damage. But I don't know if Kai Havertz is up for it because quite frankly he shrinks in at the international stage.
Hmm. It it seems to me that Musiala is the key to whether or not Germany advances in this World Cup, and here's why. I think he before he got injured, he was seen as a rising prodigy for this team, for this German team. The number obviously wears the number 10. He's quick, he's crafty, he's smart, he's skillful. And I think people are sleeping on him just because he was injured. He's been injured for the last 7 months, so we haven't seen him. And people have forgotten how good this guy is.
No,
So
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think his trajectory was, to be a top 5 player in the world, I think. And then the leg break is, I mean,
completely agree.
devastating. But
I completely agree. I think
hopefully this is Musiala getting back into form.
I couldn't agree more. I think he's he's coming back from injury, so there's going to be a slow progressive build. But I actually thought he looked pretty good against the U.S. in the U.S. friendly. He had the assist to the assist, where the ball came to him. He had kind of a cheeky one touch through to maybe it was Wirtz who laid it off to Sane for the goal. But he's crafty, he's smart, he can beat guys off the dribble, and I wouldn't be surprised if Musiala surprises some people and has an outsized impact on Germany's chances in this World Cup.